What's up, and welcome back to another edition of Propels Talk. We are going to be talking about Herb Jones, snubbed once again from the All-NBA defensive team. We're going to talk, should he be extended this year? And we're going to do just a simple recap of his 2022-2023 season, presented by DraftKings. Before we get into the show, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get into the show.
First took away. Yes, for this. Get your money's worth.
All right, 5. I don't know what was going on there. 5, Lito Chaz. I was like frozen. Thanks for joining the show. Before we get into it, I'm just gonna say my piece about Herb Jones getting snubbed again. Came out with a tweet today and compared him to the others that had made the All NBA defensive team, right? And so Herb Jones statistically was better in a lot of categories than some of these players. So Herb Jones had more steals per game than Alex Caruso, Derek White, Dillon Brooks, and Draymond Green. Herb Jones had more deflections than Derek White, Dillon Brooks, and Draymond Green. Herb Jones averaged more rebounds than Alex Caruso, Dillon Brooks, and Derek White. And then Herb Jones had more charges drawn than anybody else on that list. 5. I know you really wanted to get on this show, so I'm gonna let you have the first take here, and then we'll go Lito and Chaz.
Man, how in the hell does Alex Caruso end up on first team for a guy that only played 36 games for a team in Chicago that was ranked 10 in the West, 10th in the West, only won 40 games, and they were ranked 19th in team defense. Like, that doesn't get you all. Like, I get it, it's an individual kind of award, but your team success kind of should get you some leeway. The Pels won 2 more games than the Chicago Bulls did. Like, I don't get how you put a guy. And again, if this was like Marcus Smart, right, and a previous defensive player of the year, and he got first team, I really wouldn't trip, because that's a Boston team that's top 5 defensively. The Pels are ranked 6th defensively, and Herb Jones got snubbed. And he was, Justin alludes to all of these stats. Bro, watch the tape. Just watch him play basketball. Like, the stats are one thing. If you watch Herb Jones play, he guards the toughest guard in the league or forward, right? Every night. He shows up, whether his shots are on or off. He's playing defense. He's getting steals. Hell, there was one stretch where the team didn't have Zion or Brandon. Again, that was a decent stretch. And they had the whole teams under 100. And that was all because of Herb Jones for the most part. For the most part. So what are we watching? And this is what I kind of get mad at, even in my job now, right? It's all about agendas. Guys are getting awarded for their name and who they play with. Alex Caruso getting awarded for playing with LeBron James is crazy to me. It's like, dude might be a really good defender, but he ain't all first team all defense. Like, come on, what are we doing?
And also something Jarrett you didn't even mention is that he also guards centers too. Like Herb Jones literally guards 1 through 5. Lito, I mean, we love Herb. Obviously, we love everything he does, but the disrespect for him. Do you think it's more of, I don't know, why doesn't Herb Jones get the respect that he deserves? Is it because they're not on national TV? Is it because he's not a big household name? Like, what? Because as Jarrett says, like, if you're watching the game and you're comparing Herb Jones to these guys, and no disrespect to Derek White, Alex Caruso, Dillon Brooks, whatever, but I'm taking Herb Jones every day. Every single day I'm taking him over those guys.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because if you look at, like Five just said, we had a better record than the Bulls. So if you giving leeway to success, like, we were more successful than the Bulls, right? Flat out a better defender than Derek White. Flat out, like, Alex Caruso don't even play for the Lakers no more. So I don't even know why I'm sure he played terrific defense, but he's not a better overall defender than Herb Jones. I don't know. I guess because we don't get seen. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I know. And the reason why Herb ain't make it is Zion and Brandon fault. That's why Herb ain't make it.
Why? Elaborate a little bit on that.
I mean, literally, like, all right, let's look at the team. Let's look at the guys on the team who made it, right? You spoke about Derek White. He got available superstars in JB, and Jason. You talk about Caruso. I don't know if DeMar is a superstar. He's a star player, I would say though. And Zach LaVine, he has superstar potential.
And Chicago's a big market too.
And they were available for the majority of the season, right? Bam. Jimmy's there. Jimmy doesn't miss games. Bam is a consistent, like he's a star on that team. I can't even think of. I was just so mad. I can't even think of else.
Dylan
Who
Brooks.
else?
Dylan Brooks, Jaren
Dylan
Jackson
Brooks.
Jr.,
Dylan Brooks, right?
Drew Holiday.
Brooke
I mean,
Lopez.
yeah, like literally, Drew didn't get respect until he left New Orleans, right? But in my opinion, the reason why Herb not a household name is Zion and Brandon fault.
Fair take. Chaz, Chaz, do you believe that Herb Jones is the top 10 defender in the league?
Top 10?
Yeah. Top 10 or
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen game. I don't think Herb can guard like some of the elite point guards in the NBA, like guys with a super quick first step. But you've seen a lot of great defenders struggle with that. Like I think Drew's a great defender, but I think Dennis Schroeder, a guy like that, could drop 40 points on Drew just because he doesn't deal with guys with quick first step like those water bug type guards. And I don't think Herb necessarily rebounds enough on the defensive end. But I do think Herb is in the upper echelon of defenders, maybe top 15, maybe something like that. I think to echo Lito's point, I think a lot of it has to do with Brandon and Zion's absence. Herb's also a second-year guy. Even when you look at a person like Drew, it took a long time for Drew's reputation the results to catch up with Drew's reputation, right? Like even with Caruso, he's known as probably the second best defender on a championship team in the Lakers in 2020. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a while for some guys, the results actually to catch up. Because with the Pelicans, anytime you're on a nationally televised game and you getting beat by 40 fucking points, no one's going to say, oh, but Herb Jones, he locked down numbers 16 for 13 seconds straight. Like no one's going to remember that. Because they're going to look at the team. They're going to say, well, your defense doesn't necessarily lift the tide of the team, and it hasn't thus far in your career. That being said, I think, you got a Nick Claxton who wasn't included on the list, McDaniels. He's in good company, like not making this list. Marcus Smart wasn't on the list. Was Jaylen Brown on the list?
I don't think so.
Giannis. Giannis.
Yeah,
so
Giannis,
it was one of those lists where it's kind of like, a lot of people kind of didn't make it this year. So I don't know if I feel like it's super egregious given the context.
okay.
Let me say this. I feel like it wouldn't be egregious for me if Dylan Brooks wasn't on there, right? Like I respect Dylan Brooks's annoyance. I think he could like add something to a team. You know what I'm saying? Where he can just play defense and not have to score, but he don't do that better than Herb. He don't like Derek White might be an overall better player than Herb at this point in his career, but he don't specifically play defense better than Herb. And that's my thing. Like if we talking just defense, like this man, a free safety, a linebacker, a quarterback, he like plays so many different positions on the defense.
And Jarrett, me and you talk about this all the time, and I know you can't measure it, but his IQ defensively is off the charts. Like whether he's covering for Zion or on the backside or rotating correctly, he's always in the right spot. And that's something that you can't measure, but we see it every single night with Herb Jones. Not only is he guarding the best player, he's also in help side defense as well, covering other holes, and that's fuck, it's frustrating.
And you got people, talking about his 3-point shot. Like, man, I don't care. Did you just see what he just did on the defensive end? Did you just see how he came from, almost the opposite corner to get a deflection? Yeah, it didn't result into a turnover, but man, like that's basketball. I think we don't teach. Yeah, we don't teach basketball enough to the fans to make people really understand like what's actually happening. Not necessarily like the highlight plays, right? Yeah, it didn't result in a dunk or an alley oop or a 3-point Like, who cares? Like the essence of basketball is like Herb Jones.
Mhm.
That dude can play basketball.
Mhm.
That's a really good point. Lito, you had mentioned Derek White, you mentioned Dylan Brooks.
Mhm.
Would you take Herb Jones right now defensively over those two?
I would. And you asked Chaz if he was a top 10 defensive player. I think he's a top 5 defensive player in the league. Like I truly like believe that guarding, I'm not gonna say he can guard 1 through 5. I'm not gonna give him that, but I'll say 1 through 4 for sure. Like I think because I mean,
Well, shit, I'm not saying he like. I just saw
yeah,
him
no, I know.
against Minnesota. He held his own against Cat. I mean, that's one of the best
I
offensive
mean,
centers in the league. You know,
he's
he's just
a piece of wet
Big
paper.
per, big
But
per.
yeah, yeah, he's yeah. But no, like I truly believe that he's man, he is special. He is
yeah.
special. And I can't wait to like I would love to have a conversation with him because I just want to know what defensive back or what safety he patterned his game. Because that don't come from basketball. Like what he does, that's not basketball specific. Like that translates from football because the way he reads passing lanes, the way he reads like
Do
his
we know if he played football
switchability.
in high school? Do we have any
No,
idea?
he already said he modeled his game after my cousin. He already said he modeled his game after Ed Reed. He
There we
already
I
go.
was
said
about to
it.
say,
There we go. I mean, it makes sense. It looked like it.
yeah. Presented by Company Burger, located 4600 Ferret Street. Chaz, let's talk Herb Jones. Me and you talked earlier today about an extension. And one, I think Herb Jones deserves the extension, but can you kind of dive into why the Pelicans should offer him an extension now during this summer instead of wait until next summer? And what do you think that price range and what does that contract look like moving forward for Herb Jones?
I think to make it short and sweet, I would say just because you don't want to run the risk, like him missing, the all defensive team, it actually helps with negotiations. If you want to deal in absolutes, like the fact is, you didn't make it. So that's going to help with leveraging negotiations. And you really don't want to run the risk of him. Like he's been outperforming his entire contract up until this point. You don't want to run the risk of him taking an even greater step and outperforming it by a major amount. But I think Herb is probably a guy who will probably command potentially in the full MLE range. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll say between 12 and 15 million. I don't think Herb at this point could command a $20 million thing just because if he was like that final piece to a championship team or like that defensive glue that holds the entire thing together, I think he would like certainly be like a 18, $20 million guy. But I think for where he's at right now and him still figuring it out offensively, I think 12 to 15 million would be really fair for him. Not to say that he wouldn't deserve more in a better situation, but I think this is just where we are right now.
And Chaz, we were talking about it, comparing him to other players that were picked up in the second round. I think one
like
was Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Finney-Smith got 4 years, 55 million. OG Anunoby got 4 years, 72. Mikal Bridges got 4 years, $90 million. So you're probably gonna obviously make a little bit less than Mikal, but around the OG 4 years, $72 million could probably be a good
wait, hold up. This I want to make sure I understand you. You saying that his contract should mirror maybe an OG's?
Well, around there, you don't think so?
Yeah. I think below there. I think
like right there. I'm not. I mean, what they got for Mikal is insane. I mean, 4 years, $90 million. That's a steal. Jared, go ahead.
That's just. I think Chaz is probably like 4 years, 60, right? Somewhere.
Yeah. 4 years, 60. Something around there.
Yeah, I think that's
15 million
I don't
year,
know.
Yeah.
So like I think that's a wonderful number for Herb, maybe a great number for Griff as well. Like it kind of helps both parties, right? But I think this also gives him an opportunity to get to another level, right? Second round guy, he's gonna get his money now, get it early, boom. Now you can re-up in what at that point, 3 years after or 4? 3 years.
Probably 4.
Right? 4?
Well, it depends on if they got an option, right? The Griff, he don't do no options. So you gonna be in that contract.
So all right. So a guy like that, you can get in 4 years, and that can give him time to kind of develop. Maybe what he's 24 right now, 28, almost prime of his career,
Yeah,
or
to his third.
starting
Yeah,
the
I
prime.
think. Yeah.
So for a guy like that, you can imagine like, oh, well, there's another tier he can kind of get to. So if I'm him, I'm like, that's a great number, and then it works for the org and give you some flexibility.
Because right, you need because we think about it. This will be for another show, but you got to think of the Trey Murphy extension coming here soon, where he's in command a lot more than Herb Jones. Lito, we talk about this a lot. I know Five wants to talk about this because Five had mentioned it all year. We have defended Herb Jones, and the main thing about Herb Jones is he can't shoot, and blah blah blah. He can't play because he can't shoot. Well, in his last 15 games, he shot 41% from deep. No, I'm sorry. I fucked that up. Excuse my language. He shot 45% from deep. 45% from deep, average 11.7 points per game.
Yeah, and guess what? In the play-in, he averaged 20. I'm
So-
holding on to that.
So,
So
I know
listen,
you saw a little dip in it, but if Herb can stay around 35, 36% from deep moving forward, right?
that dip I saw, it didn't bother me at all. Like I never wavered my faith in Herbert Keyshawn. Like because simply he was put in bad positions. The positions he was put in, he was not supposed to be there. Like if you relying on Herb to make threes, you failed. You failed already, right? I think, but to Five's point, this is what I'm excited to talk about though, because while he has defensive player of the year potential, man, I truly believe Herb could average between 12 and 15 points a game, like no problem.
Easy.
Easy, right? Like, and I truly believe he probably could put up 6 assists, 6 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has that type of ability. He has that type of leadership. He has that type of. I feel like he can grow into that role. Like, if you literally just give him the Draymond Green treatment, let him initiate it, right? Don't be the like. Imagine if the Warriors treated treated Draymond like we treat Herb. Imagine if they just stuck Draymond in the corner and they just said like, make these threes, don't move, don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would be truly ineffective. Like, bro, I think Draymond would have been out the league in 2 years. Like that, there would be no way for him to those type of guys, when guys have non-conventional talents like that, you got to find a way to orchestrate them into the offense so that like it kind of like raises the level of the rest of the team. And I think that with Herb, you see that, like, especially if Herb go shoot the three at 45%, hey, that 60 we talking about.
I don't think he's a shoot 45%.
No, he not. I'm just saying.
I'm hoping for 35, 36.
If he could shoot it, man, me and Chaz had this conversation the other day. If he could shoot that shit between 35, 38%, like he would be generationally wealthy.
Yeah.
Because he does
Easy.
so many other things at a high level, right? We talk about Chaz, we talk about slot cutting, we talk about handling the basketball, we talk about screening, we talk about just his cuts are just so timely, right? And so I think that he's an important factor, and the coaching staff finally involved him in the action later down that stretch, and he started getting easier looks. But then once again, we still don't know what he looks like with Zion Williamson, because that's to me.
I don't think it really matters, to be honest. Because I say that because it don't matter really if you can have like good Duncan Robinson out there. Like no one's gonna stay out there on Duncan Robinson to go to like oh well, Zion's driving. I'm gonna stay here and guard Duncan Robinson just to make sure he doesn't get an open look. No, everyone's gonna converge on Zion, probably Brandon as well. I think the thing with Herb is, again, I just really wish him and Trey were stronger rebounders, but Herb, like, he can get 12, 14 points just off garbage cuts, garbage putbacks, just deflections in the open court. And they use, like, there was several instances the last 2 years where Herb looked like the best player on the floor. Like, and I'm talking about a first year, second rounder guy, team is kind of healthy, and he's still looking like the best player on the floor. You go back to that Cleveland game, had several games this season.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he hasn't been put in position to succeed. Really, my thing is, shit, if you're not gonna maximize him when Zion's out, it don't really matter how he look when Zion there. Like, because we'll just never know how good he is. Like, if that's the case, we just may never know.
And then he also, I mean, he dropped that 35-point game
Easy
against the
35
Grizzlies.
too.
Late in the year. But Jarrett, I want to ask you this question, and you can't say shooting, but what do you want to see? Because obviously that's the biggest thing with Herb. But what do you want to see Herb offensively improve in the offseason carried into next year? What do you think is one, besides the shooting, what do you think his main focus should be this offseason?
I'll give you two. Screening and rebounding. That lets me know that if Herb averaged 8 rebounds, like we would, like, you know, and 8's not like this huge number, right? But that also lets me know there's going to be some games where he's going to get 12 rebounds, but also he'll get 6, right? And he'll fall in between that number 8. But that lets me know like he's going to have some really huge game where he's getting offensive boards. That those points of him scoring 15 is not going to be like 22, right? Or and then there's going to be some fouls. He's a really good free throw shooter too. So the advantage of a Herb, like just rebounding better. But Chaz talked about something like if they're not going to use Herb in a role when Brandon and Zion was out and use them to their advantage. Hell, they didn't do that with Trey. They didn't even do that with him. So I mean, we're asking for something that we haven't seen from a guy. Not to say that Trey's like ultra better than Herb, but his potential is. And if we talk about like this team being, resembling the Warriors at some point, like you got a Draymond and you got almost a Clay, and you didn't use them at all, similar to the. So what are we actually talking about? You had an opportunity to kind of base that offense around them, and you didn't even take it. And you lost 10 straight, and you didn't get. To be honest, I don't mind. Okay, I'm not saying I don't mind losing 10 straight, but you didn't even give yourself an opportunity to learn anything about yourself. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Baron Davis Warriors.
Lito, actually, Jared brings up a good point about free throw shooting. Herb is a really good free throw shooter. I mean, he shot 84 for his rookie year. It dipped a little bit. He got to 77% this year. But I would think one thing I would like to see more of, Lito, is more of attacking when Herb, because Herb, I'll tell you what, that Euro step, when he's got like that is a lethal move. Like he is a lethal Euro step. And also his finishing around the rim.
Crafty.
And,
yes.
Yeah, crafty. And then also like he'll like surprise you and like put it on your head once. Like he'll just dunk it. I want to see just more downhill from her, but like that involves him getting in the action instead of putting him in the corner. Like that also is on the coaching staff.
Yeah, putting him in the middle of the floor. Yeah.
Put him in the middle of the floor. Go ahead.
Put him in the middle of the floor. Like you saw, I think in a playing game where I think Jax got the ball. Might have been before the playing game. I think it might have been against the Clippers where Jax got the ball in the corner. Not the corner, but like 3/4 of the court. He was standing on the 3-point line, and like he didn't know what to do with it at that point, right? And it was cutters. It was, I think when we say involve Herb in action, that's exactly what we're talking about. Like put him in the middle of the floor, literally like mirror the Draymond Green role, bro. Like just mirror it. Just literally like if not even Herb, right? I don't even need Herb to watch the film because I know Herb knows. I want the coaching staff to watch film and see what he should be doing. Because I already know Herb. No, like you can just tell. Like he's like if your coach tells you to stand in the corner, like what you have no rebuttal. You have no other recourse for action. You gotta do that. But like you literally saw when he got involved in the offense, when his confidence came back, he was taking rebounds. He was going coast to coast with him. He got a crafty Euro. He's sneaky athletic, can finish around the rim. He a decent passer. Like I feel like he's underutilized, and I think that the coaching staff should acknowledge that and they should fix that going into the season.
You were talking about the Jackson Hayes where Trey Murphy backdoored missed him because Jackson Hayes has never been Jackson Hayes had played a month, and then also I'm sure he wasn't even put in that position in which you would have put. You should probably should put Herb Jones in that position. Second thing that Jared, I forgot to mention, Lito, and then Chaz can get into this too. When they sag off, right? They're like daring him to shoot. What is Draymond Green doing? Draymond Green doesn't just shoot the ball because he's open. What he does is he screens, right? And I think you saw it against. I think it was a game against the Clippers, Jarrett, where Herb Jones is in the corner. He just flips it quickly to CJ and screens it. The dude, his defender's way down. CJ comes off of it. And it's a wide open three. That's the stuff we're talking about. That's using Herb Jones in the action instead of just putting him in the corner and letting defenses kind of dictate what you're doing. Like that's exactly what we're talking about. But leader, that's what I was going to mention. But Chaz or 5, y'all can
you good.
Get in there. I
mean, yeah, when teams are in drop, right, and they're dropping off Herb, like use him as a screener. That way they can't help. Like this is, from my standpoint, this is simple basketball, right? We're not reinvent the wheel. Like I've seen this 1,000 times. I mean, if you watch a ton of Warriors games over the last decade, you've seen this 1,000 times. I mean, just using the strengths of your skill players, really, like your offensive skill players against the other team. That's your advantage, right? Understanding what your advantage is and exploiting it against the other team's defense and how they're going to guard you against the guys that aren't as strong, right? And use it against them.
Yeah, Chaz, what's one thing you want to see Herb improve offensively besides shooting this year?
I really have no idea because truthfully, I don't know anything about Herb Jones. Like offensively, I know. Like I say that because I just I'm hearing you gentlemen talk. And everything's eloquent as always, but I'm really filming. This coaching staff really fucking awful, bro. I just gotta fucking say it, cause dog, these dudes trash, bro. Like I'm really sitting here thinking, I'm like, these aren't like some like mind blowing like advanced calculus like solutions. It's like, hey, I want you just let Herb initiate the offense here. CJ seems to be struggling. Brandon's out. You want to put CJ more off ball, like you said. Why don't you just let Herb initiate the, like it's just simple as basic GED type question and answers, bro. And they couldn't figure it out. And you got some of the players, some of the leadership on this team talking about, if Herb doesn't make all defense, we're gonna ride. You're gonna ride in Cancun? Why? They ain't do nothing to you in Cancun. You're at home. Enjoy the off season. You know what I'm saying?
They're protecting their guy, Chaz. They're protecting their guy.
But you know what? You had
that does mean something to that guy, though.
No, I guess you had 82 games to protect him. You know what I'm saying? Y'all start showing up. You want Herb Jones to get those individual accolades? Like Lito said, you got to show up. You got to win. This team wins 45, 46 games this year, which they were well within reach of, capable of doing, had the talent to do, despite injury. I think Herb Jones makes third team, second team. I think they figure it out. You using Herb Jones like he's fucking Bruce Bowen, PJ Tucker. You're parking him in the corner. You know what I'm saying? You're not screening for him. You're not letting them. Like I've seen Herb Jones save so many plays because he was the only person to cut. He was the only person to not give up on the play, dive on the floor. You know what I'm saying? It was just so many times where like systemically this, like you just saw the issues with this team, and it sucks because it hurts players who show up to work every night like a Herb Jones. You know what I'm saying? Even if Herb has like a bad game, his floor for a bad game is high. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
because he's going to affect the game in other ways.
Yeah, he's going to get some deflections. Right. He's going to dive. He might like go 0 for 5 from the 3, but he's going to make all his free throws. He's going to make his clutch free throws. Like he got ice in his veins in the clutch. I trust him more than anyone else to take free throws at the end of the game. And that's crazy. But I trust Herb Jones more than anyone else. Him and Trey take free throws at the end of the game. But it's just like, come on, man. Like, how did the coaching staff fuck this up so bad, bro? Like, come on, dog. It's inexcusable.
5. Go ahead.
Point for Chaz, man. Listen, the OKC game, not the play-in one. That was a game. Shea had like 30 something, but at the end of the game, Herb saves the day by getting a charge on Shea. Like, we're talking about play like that win games. That guy's a winner. But also, Justin, you mentioned you wanted Herb to work on something this summer. Yeah, let's put him at the point. Let's work on his handle. That's what I want to see. I want to see his handle get right. If his handle gets right, that means that we don't have to put Brandon Ingram at the point all the time in clutch situations. And we've seen that happen where it doesn't go well. So, and CJ as well. So that Brandon's not alone in that. CJ as well. So,
can I? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
No, Leo, want to go.
Oh, pass the rock.
Bro, no, listen. Thank you for addressing that. Dog, last summer, I had a conversation. Like I kept saying, the team needs a point guard, which I mean, a facilitator would definitely help. Dog, that's Herb Jones. Like Herb Jones could literally play the point guard. He literally could be the facilitator for this team, and he adds so much to it. And that way, you don't have to take him off the conversation is who you starting Trey or you starting Herb, right? We don't even gotta have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to have that conversation. Herb should literally be the point guard of the team. He played point guard in Alabama.
I was just about to say he played point guard literally in college. He played
and
the position
and high school. Like
and
he's a natural. He's a natural. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't gonna give you all the fancy. You know what I'm saying? But truthfully, like you don't even need that. You just need somebody to get you in your sets. That's it. You just need somebody to get the play start. And like truthfully, I think the thing that Herb would help with, I love CJ to death, but he played at a different pace. His pace is a lot slower. I think Herb would pick that pace up, and it would get everybody into their spots, and they make the offense more free flowing. That's just my opinion.
It's crazy. You watch the other point guard from Alabama get pickpocketed in the backcourt several times, and you got to use fucking Garrett Temple to bring the ball up the court while you have Herb Jones. Then you got Dyson Daniels, who's just 6'7", just of inadequacy. 6'7" of inadequacy. Just gives you nothing, right? Gives you nothing. So far away, just like this, Buzz light years away from being a valuable player on this team. And you got a guy like Herb Jones. And it's really unfortunate when you see a player who second round guy, and you hit the home run, you hit it out the park, and now what you do? You take the baseball. Is Barry Bonds? His all-time home run. You got the ball, and what do? You pawn it for crack. You pawn it for fucking crack rock.
I did not think that was going to be the
crack rock.
I really did not think.
Like you just not maximizing. Like, dude, you got some really good high ceiling players, man. You got some young dogs on this team. Maximize these players, man. Let's stop fucking around, bro. Let's stop fucking around.
Herb Jones, the point guard of the future.
Hey. I ain't mad at it. He could be like Scottie Pippen.
Yo.
Be like Scottie Pippen.
But he can't shoot. He can't shoot like Scottie, though.
Scottie can't shoot either. Listen, bro. Think about this. If Herb's a point, right, or point, is CJ on the bench? And even if he isn't, right? Like the smaller guard is probably going to guard CJ. That's usually like a pest, right? They're not going to put somebody that's going to like pressure the ball ultimately on Herb like they don't do on Draymond. So he'd have a fairly easy time bringing the ball up. So you don't really have to worry about like ultra pressure or him beating pressure, right? We can have this conversation later, because we can talk about this all day. Talk about this all day.
I don't mean to cut you off because Lito literally just said this to me. I know that we're talking about amateur YMCA basketball to the NBA, but what I'm just saying is like Lito said that he had Division I athlete guarding him a couple of days ago, and he was guarding him 94 feet, right? And Lito's like, I'm not right. I don't want this, right? Like, I just stick in the corner. I want to shoot, right? Do you think CJ wants to be just guarding 94 feet and wasting all this energy? Like, I'm pretty sure if you can just get CJ off ball, hey, focus on being a scorer instead of facilitating and saying us getting our sets and things like that, his life becomes easier. And that's something that Herb Jones, I think, could do for this team.
I think it creates a natural, it literally creates a natural mismatch. It's a natural mismatch off the bat.
Yes. And you just put Herb Jones doesn't have, you just don't get stuck with Herb Jones in the corner. Like that's just the biggest thing. Like
even if he played like fucking Andre Miller, even if he played like an old washed up Andre Miller,
Andre Miller was pretty damn good too.
And that's what I'm saying. It would be so much better than the options you have right now.
Most random 50-point game ever.
Yeah,
that was.
Y'all gotta start. Go ahead.
Jared, didn't Corey Brewer had 2 50-point games?
I think Charlie Villanueva had one as well, right?
No way. Villanueva had one?
I think he had a 50-point game.
I think so.
Wow. Okay. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see y'all Sunday. Herb Jones was snubbed. 5 Lito Chaz.
Yo, before we get out of here though,
Yeah.
it's really important that everybody understand that the reason Herb make this list is because of Brandon and Zion. So
Yeah.
if you want to point a finger at somebody, point the finger at your 2 best players for not being available. That's the reason why Herb get this. That's the reason why Herb ain't on none of them lists.
Let's hear it. Love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. We will see y'all on Sunday. Take care.